I'm joined here by rexxraul, who's going to be running Final Fantasy Legend 2, along with Maggie the Cat on commentary. And I'm going to let Rex take it away.
Hello, everybody. rexxraul here, getting ready to start a fun game, Final Fantasy Legend 2. I think I'm about ready to go. Maggie, do you have anything you want to say before we get started?
No, I'm just really glad to be here and supporting SASE, and I'll let you get started whenever you're ready.
All right. Gambit, do you want me to do a countdown, or do you want to do a countdown? I don't know what you want to do here.
You can go ahead and do a countdown, and we will start the timer once you hit 0, and I also have the naming incentives ready when we get to that point.
Yeah, and I know you're familiar with the game, so you'll know that I'm going to need the human right away, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll count down from 5, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So here we go. This is Final Fantasy Legend 2. Starting with the character select, we're going to select a human and female, and what's the name for that?
It's going to be Schala, S-C-H-A-L-A.
Well, I've got 4 letters, so...
Oh. I forgot it's 4 letters, so let's just go S-C-H-A-L-A.
Oh, I thought Scala, S-C-L-A here is what I'm going to go with.
That works.
Okay, so Scala's woken up in the middle of the night by Dad, or Father, interchangeable here. Going to give Scala a magi called the Prism. That's not important. Then it's going to leap to the window, which is even more important. But the actual most important thing is that your dad wears a hat. So now, years later, Scala wants to look for Dad. And so we got to say goodbye to Mom, say goodbye to our school teacher. And then this school teacher has the most authority of anybody in the game, I think. First tells all about the ancient gods and the legacy of the Magi. So we're going to be on a hunt for 77 pieces of Magi. The school teacher also has the authority to send 3 of the classmates on this big journey with us. They don't really have any connection other than they were in school with us. So now we're going to need the names of the other characters here. So we're going to start with our imp.
The imp is going to be Invin. We can go I-N-V-N.
That sounds good. And our robot?
Maggie. I'd say M-A-G-I, if that works.
Oh, also Magi. Okay, so Maggie and Magi. So that's all good. And our baby
That's
D.
awesome.
And the baby D is going to be Leggy. L-E-G-Y.
All right, now we're off.
So, starting with our party composition here, it's important that you start with the human female in particular because she starts with the rapier. Is that correct?
Yeah, the rapier is an agility-based weapon, and in this game, the stats agility is far more important than strength. So, the human female has the agility-based rapier, which we equip immediately onto the robot, who's going to be the powerhouse. Maggie, that's going to be you. It's going to be our powerhouse throughout the majority of this run.
Hooray! So yeah, just to kind of talk about the party composition a little bit more here, as Rex said, the robot is very strong. The way that kind of levels and stats work in this game is different than your standard Final Fantasy game. This game was actually originally one of the Saga games in Japan, so robots will get all of their stats derived from their equipment. And so we're going to be focusing, especially early on in the run here, on the robot getting the best, most powerful equipment and basically carrying the party for the first, half or 2/3 of the run?
Well, and it's still going to be important throughout the entire run, but it's going to be basically the only form of offense throughout, maybe 2/3 or so. The human is going to be basically nothing.
Yeah, the human is kind of a meat shield. She goes in the front so that she can absorb damage. Has she already died once? Yeah, I see she's already died once, at least once. If you notice when characters die, they do come back automatically after the battle with 1 hit point. So she stays in the front spot and just kind of absorbs hits for the rest of the party.
Enemies in this game tend to target the front 2 spots, so having the human up front with nothing equipped, again, meat shield.
So we talked to Key here, who recognizes our dad as the man with a hat on. Again, this is very important to know that Dad wears a hat. And so we're going to look for some magi. Basically, this game kind of forces you to find all the magi because there's going to be locked doors, and you need to have a certain amount of magi in order to unlock those doors. So the game forces you to find them all. You can't skip them.
Yeah, there's a total of 77 asterisk magi total in this game. We'll come back to that much later on, but as far as we know, there's 77 magi in the game.
That's what Mr. S told us.
Yeah, in the world. And supposedly, if someone were to collect all 77 of them and bring them all together, that it would turn that person into a god. And so various people, like Key, have some of the magi, and it kind of turns them into like a demigod or a demi-deity.
Yeah, absolutely. So now Key kind of led us on into this ancient temple where she believes there might be some more magi for us, so that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and I think that we're hoping here that since Dad gave us that magi right at the start before he ran off, maybe if we go find some more of them, we'll eventually run into him. He's been missing now. Did it ever actually say how long it's been since we last saw him?
It said years later. How many years? We don't know.
Okay. Well, Dad works in mysterious ways, so he will just be a mystery for how long he's been missing as well.
Dad doing dad things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And so we see we're doing a lot of running here. Do we want to talk about the running mechanics and how that works? I don't think we have a 5th character in our party right now, do we?
No, we've just got the 4 that we named. But if you saw in the first cave, we had Mr. S with us. So the game does have a mechanic for having a guest party member in that 5th party spot. And the way that whether or not you can run from an enemy is based on the agility stat of the characters. However, if there's ever a character who's not present in the party, it basically gives them max agility, so it's guaranteed to run, and that 5th party member counts as a missing party member. So whenever there isn't a guest party member, you can always run from all fights.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a lot of running for most of this speed run, of course, since we don't want to take on these random encounters. Of course, if you're playing the game casually, it becomes a lot harder and a lot longer to take on these these random encounters. But for the purpose of the speedrun, we're going to try to bypass as many of them as possible.
Yeah, and playing casually, those random encounters are going to be how you power up your human or espers if you've got them in your party.
Yeah, kind of going back to how the stats work, the human, there's no actual levels. The human will get stat ups at the end of encounters based on what they do. So, for example, if they attack with a melee weapon, I think they can get, or with a weapon that's strength-based, they can get strength up. Or if they get hit, they might get hit points up.
Yeah, so that's how humans and espers advance, and monsters advance by eating meat of other monsters that you defeat. We'll see that a bit later in the run.
Yeah, that's actually where a lot of the RNG in this game is going to come in, and we're going to see that in a little while here.
Not only do you have random encounters, but in certain scenarios like this one, you have monsters that you can see wandering around, and if you accidentally run into, will start an encounter.
Yep, and these zombies that are walking around are erratic and not like the timing in which when they move isn't like set. Like you don't know when they're going to move and when they're not.
Yeah, we like to call them the dancing zombies because they just kind of dance around, especially to this music. The soundtrack in this game, especially for its era, is really, really fantastic.
Yeah, really taking advantage of the Game Boy sound chip, that's for sure. But you see, now we've got Key in the party, so we're getting some can't runs, and so that's a bit annoying. But as soon as they knock out Scala, Scala then becomes a party member who is no longer there, counts as max agility, so we can run. And I think that was kind of the reason behind having that max agility, so that if like you're getting beat up by a random encounter and one of your characters go down, it's easy to run away from them. However, it seems like they may have forgotten about the fifth party member sort of factor throughout the majority of the run, but we'll just take advantage of that, that's all.
Yeah, the fifth party members are generally very useful. So having them in the party is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, he's got some pretty strong attacks. Most of the fifth party members who will join you, guest party members that will join you, are going to bring a lot to the party. But when they're not with you, then on the flip side of that coin, then you are guaranteed to run away. So kind of a nice mechanic overall, having that fifth party slot.
Yeah, and we're getting lucky with some of these runs with Key in the party, so then I say something, and of course.
Yeah, getting through this pretty quickly overall. The other big RNG in this game is the random encounters, of course. Like, you can, like, we're actually, I think, getting through this pretty quickly, but then you can go, like, 3 or 4 steps, and each step can be a random encounter.
Yeah, the random encounter rate is very high in this game.
There's that thunder that Key has, which is, like, one of the first really strong attacks that your guest party members will bring to the party. And there's a meat. We're not gonna eat it yet.
No, we're not going to eat meat for quite a while. All of the meat that we have planned to eat is... we know exactly when we want to do it, except maybe for one. Now, Key is going to stay in the first world, and that's nice for us because now we can run away easier.
So this tower, also known as the Celestial World, connects lots of different worlds in this game. And Rex had mentioned earlier that the doors in this world are kind of gated by the number of magi that we have. So if we had missed any of the magi in that first world or in that tower, that dungeon that we were just in, we would not be able to progress to where we are now. So it does kind of gate you from being able to miss anything that is, or like soft block you from being able to progress by missing a magi.
Now, the storyline, after that first world, that base was Ashura's base. Ashura wanted to get the Magi from that world. So now we've gone to Ashura's world, and this is Ashura's tower. And so we're going to take him out. One other thing I did in Key's Temple was I did some equipping. One thing I equipped was some... Magi. You can actually equip Magi to characters. And so I equipped the robot with a speed Magi. And that's just going to boost the speed stat of the robot. I also did the mana Magi on the Baby D. Now, that doesn't really matter right now, but I just want it, since I was already in the Magi equip menu, I might as well do it now, because I'm going to want it, in like an hour or so.
Here's that random encounter RNG kind of catching up a little bit with us.
So now I've got to equip... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're equipping a lot of the equipment to the robot again to try to help change the stats of the robot, help give him more speed, more agility there.
Yeah, and so now you can see how much damage the Maggie attacks for 255 damage, and that is a lot of damage at this point. Uh-oh, this guy's got a hat. Oh, but he's not Dad, he's masked. That's kind of weird, because I thought my dad was the only one who wears a hat.
Yeah, but Dad doesn't wear a mask, so this is clearly not Dad.
That's true.
But he's going to join us anyway, so...
He's going to join us.
I guess that's nice.
It's kind of nice, but it also means that now we once again have an opportunity or a possibility to not be able to run from some fights, and hopefully that doesn't happen. Now, the fact that our robot's agility is a lot higher now means that it's still going to be pretty easy to run, but there's still that possibility. Later in the game, as the robot's agility skyrockets, even with guest party members, running is pretty trivial. Oh, that is a Rexism right there, holding up and going through the same door twice. Yeah, I do that a lot.
Now, some of this equipment that we're going to start picking up, we're not actually going to equip. Some of the equipment that we get out of these chests is simply for selling later on to be able to fund other equipment that we're going to want to be able to purchase for the robot.
Now you get to hear the sweet boss music in this game. I love this music.
This is kind of the first real boss. We've had a couple of little mini bosses for this, but Ashura is kind of the first real threat of this run.
Ooh, flame is what we do not want to see. All I've got left is mask. That's good. Hey, we did it.
Nice. Nice. Not bad at all.
Even though Ashura doesn't want to die, that's too bad. We get a bunch of Magi. And Mask, my work is done. I must leave you now. But Ashura said that Ashura's men micronized and went inside Key. I guess Key has Magi within her body, so that's no good.
And here we talk to the little fairy who is Key's attendant, who tells us that the giants know how to micronize. So in order to save Key and get rid of Ashura's men and get the Magi that are inside Ashura's body, now we have to go talk to the giants.
And this is where I think the game runs into an ethical dilemma. Maybe the first time of many we'll see it. But if let's say Ashura's men didn't micronize and go inside Key's body, like if we were able to thwart Ashura before that happened, we would still need the Magi that's inside Key's body to progress because of the locked doors and everything. So we'd still have to micronize and steal the Magi from inside her. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're just glad that things worked out the way that they do, and we're using saving Key as the excuse to go in and get those Magi, I guess.
Exactly. Oh, it looks like Mask. Oh no, it's Dad! So basically, Dad's telling us that Ashura isn't the only person who's trying to gain power by collecting the Magi. And so basically it's going to be our job to stop them by collecting Magi and becoming powerful. I guess it's okay for us, but not for them.
Yeah, Scala really wanted Dad to come home, and Dad was like, not yet. We've still got stuff to do. This is kind of the very fetch questy part of the speedrun. We've got to talk to a lot of people and do a lot of things in order to figure out how to micronize to go save key. Now, the person we just talked to told us that we should go talk to Johnny. Is Johnny supposed to be a giant?
Well, he'll ask us if we think he's a giant. I'm going to say I think he's a giant. Johnny claims it's not true. I don't know if I believe Johnny.
So we are, in fact, in Giant World.
This is Giant's World, yes.
Yeah, we are in Giant World. We don't really ever see giants here. We're going to see some giant-sized furniture in just a minute, but we don't ever actually see any giants. And Scala Kitty, who is the person who wrote the walkthrough that you're following here, Rex, apparently the hot take is that from Scala Kitty is that all the giants in Giant World are actually micronized. So that's why they just look like humans. At least that's what she told me.
They got tired of accidentally stepping on the little people, so they all decided to miniaturize.
Right.
Oh, there's the other Rexism. Hit up, going through the same door twice.
Yeah, so here's the giant-sized furniture. We've got some really big beds, but no actual giants.
Now, I just picked up another couple magi there. The locked doors aren't necessarily just in the celestial world. There's a door in this other house that required us to have a certain amount of magi in order to get in, and those two that I just picked up are what I needed in order to open this door right here. Now opened.
Picking up some more equipment there that we're going to sell pretty soon here. I think you hit a shop pretty soon coming up, right?
Yep. In fact, that's our next stop is the shop. We've got the Micron, which is what we need to micronize, and now we're going to go back to the home world, but we're going to do some shopping first. Well, we're going to go to home world and then do shopping. But...
Yeah, this is one of the most important shops in the world, because if you accidentally sell that Micron, you have to walk all the way back to the Giant World and go re-pick it up. So definitely have to be careful on this shopping trip.
Yeah, key items can in fact be sold in this game. It doesn't soft lock you because you can go back and re-get them, but it is very inconvenient.
And I will warn everybody that at some point, old Rex, who's been chugging down energy drinks to stay awake at this time of the morning, is going to need a bathroom break. It's not quite yet, but just an FYI. So now we're going to sell...
Gambit and I can probably vamp for you.
Yeah. So now I'm going to sell everything except the Micron to buy a submachine gun.
Because this is totally a high fantasy game filled with robots and submachine guns. And I am the robot using the submachine gun, so that's awesome.
Yeah, we are picking up that submachine gun for exactly one fight.
Okay, that's okay, because after that, then I get to use a laser sword.
Yeah, the laser sword's coming pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, jumping into Key's body.
We get some more very great music. I like the music in here. It's very peaceful and relaxing for wandering around Key's veins, or inside, I don't know what we're calling this. Key's body, I guess.
This is one of my favorite dungeons, is the fact that if, as you're walking it, you really feel like you're going, okay, I'm going down an arm, now I'm going down a leg. You get into the different appendages, like, okay, I'm in the hand, I'm in the foot.
Yeah,
I think if you... Go ahead, sorry.
It's just a real fun design, even if the implications are a little, like, as I described, a little bit unethical. I think the design is really cool, and it's a really fun time.
And I really like the monsters in here. We always comment when we run this together that like some of these make sense. Like there's like worms. There's these like parasite-looking things. There's even like little stone things that all sort of make sense for being inside a body. And then there's terrorists and T-Rexes.
Yeah.
And those are clearly Asura's agents that have infiltrated Key's body here. Like, yep, here's the bad guys.
I don't know, now I'm imagining little T cells inside the body shaped as a T-Rex.
There you go.
Right?
No, my favorite are the virus-looking enemies that have the Mickey Mouse gloves. So.
Also, one thing runners in this game love watching is to see how everyone decides to route Key's body, because you have 2 arms, 2 legs, a heart, and the intestines that you have to go through before heading back up to the brain. And it's all about the same distance no matter which way you go, so everyone tends to route it differently. I see Rex did both hands first and is now going into the heart, I believe, whereas I usually just go right to left.
Yeah, it definitely, like, because you've always got to go back to the same plot to go down the next side of the body or whatever, it doesn't really matter which order you do a lot of it in. So, you just get something and you tend to stick to it because, I mean, that's how you speedrun. It's by getting used to doing something and doing it more efficiently.
But one good thing about this section is when you grab the Magi from each appendage, it just goes ahead and warps you back to the entrance door of that appendage, so you don't have to walk it back out.
Especially nice for the intestines.
While we're making our way through Key's body, do you have any anything to donations or anything that you want to plug, Gambit?
I don't have any new donations at this current moment. We do still have one outstanding bid war coming up very, very shortly at the end of this run. We have Octopath Traveler coming up. We still have the choice between the single story character. Ophelia is in the lead with $25, Cyrus in second at $10, and Hanat at $1.08. So if you want to see any of those particular characters as our Octopath Traveler story character, get some donations in towards it. That run will be immediately after this one.
Now we are in the intestines, or as I call it, the really long bit.
Yeah, and like Gambit commented, you can really tell with all the areas, like kind of where you are when you're in the specific area of this dungeon.
It is really evocative. It's I like a lot of the design in this game, but this one really stands out. It's really memorable. Yeah.
And again, you see the RNG on the encounters there. We're doing great getting no encounters, and we got like 3 in the span of 4 steps.
Yeah, I believe it goes on a cycle, so eventually you'll get those 3 in a row, and then you'll have long steps, or long places where you get none. So it ends up evening out throughout the course of the run, but at some points it feels like, are you kidding? Again, another battle? So, especially when you're playing casually, it can really feel oppressive.
Now, fortunately, if you do play this casually, you can leave this dungeon to like go rest or restock on supplies, and you don't lose your micron, so you can leave and come back. Yeah, there's a door. Are we gonna go past that door? Yeah. So
that's this door coming up right here. Of course,
yeah, yeah, because this would be pretty rough to try to do all in one go if you were taking all of these random encounters casually.
Now to go to the brain, which of course, as we know, is at the very top of the head.
And this is going to be our first, what we call meat grind, which is going to be like the first RNG test of this run.
Yeah, and this is a meat grind that we have because we're doing the 2 monster run. There's another route of this category where you get... sorry, gotta menu a little bit. Where you get 2 humans, and then you don't need to worry about a meat grind here, but it's going to make it a little bit safer in the long run to do this. Hey, first try meat.
Nice, good job.
So what this...
Oh, go ahead, you can explain it. You can explain it better than me, so...
Yeah, what this chameleon does is it has a special ability that makes it so that we don't get surprised by encounters. Now, in the first couple worlds, there aren't any monsters that will surprise us anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But coming up, especially a few worlds from now, there's going to be some really powerful enemy formations that have monsters that can surprise you. And so by having this chameleon, we're going to avoid those and are going to be able to run away from them without issue. In the 2 humans run, that's something that you have to face, but you don't have to deal with extra meat grinds because of it. So, like, if you're going for world records and everything like that, then that's probably a better route to take. But for marathons like this, and just for myself personally, I kind of like the safety of this route instead, the 2 monsters. And I believe it was Invenerable, named Inven in our party, who came up with a lot of this routing as well for the 2 monster route. I was talking and not counting worlds, so. Okay, so this is the what you get if you don't have enough magi. That's the message that you get on those locked doors. Normally I say out loud the worlds as I'm passing them, but I was explaining other things. So this is Apollo's world, so let's go ahead and check in with Apollo. And here he is. He is a long, long man. Oh, and he's giving us Magi right away?
Yeah, Apollo's a pretty cool dude, really.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Definitely. He's thanking us for beating up Ashura, and he's welcoming us to his world, and he kind of gave us a riddle there about where there may be some more Magi hidden in some dungeons. What is this NPC getting in your way?
That guy gets in my way all the time.
So there's 3 dungeons in Apollo's world that Apollo gave us this riddle that there may be more Magi hidden here.
Okay, now that we get back to this gentle music, I am going to take that aforementioned restroom break. I'll be right back. You guys can vamp a little bit.
Yeah, so in Apollo's world, 3 different dungeons, each with Magi in them. The second dungeon, we will give you a quick little heads up for anyone who has photosensitivity issues. We do call it Disco Dungeon. It has a moving floor, so when we get there, we will shout it out, and it's probably best if you scroll down, open a new tab, look away for a little bit, and we'll let you know when it's over with, because it is known to cause occasional photosensitivity issues.
Yeah, it can trigger motion sickness for some people if you have any sensitivity from that. It's kind of disorienting. This first dungeon that we're about to go into is not a problem, but yeah, Rex had mentioned that the Keys dungeon, Keys Bodies dungeon, is very memorable. I would say the Disco dungeon is the other one that's very memorable in this game.
Yes, it is. And if you want to learn more about Final Fantasy Legend 2, we do have a Discord. I'm actually a runner of this game myself as well. And we're very welcoming. There are lots of tips and tricks and guides, and it's a very chill, easy speed run to get into. So definitely, if you feel like checking it out, I definitely welcome you. You can find it on speedrun.com/Final Fantasy Legend 2, and links to everything are there.
Yeah, Rex has commented that this is kind of his first. I'll let him maybe say it when he comes back, but that it is a very casual and easy speedrun to get into, especially as far as like RPG speedruns.
Okay, I'm back. And, of course, hit up again, go through the door multiple times. Let's pull in a Rex.
Welcome back. And we were just commenting, and maybe you want to finish the thought that I had started, that is this your first, real speedrun? Because it is a pretty easy speedrun to get into, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as just a true speedrun of a game, this is the first one that I learned. I didn't intend this to be the first game that I learned. I actually was going to learn Magic of Scheherazade for the NES, but this one's less technical, so it suits me a little bit better to get into speedrunning in general. And I think it's pretty accessible. This has a very well-written guide, and that really helped as well. And the fact that running is guaranteed really that's one of the reasons why I wanted to choose this one.
Yeah, and really, there's a lot of other things going for it. It's very whimsical. It's very cute. The story is fun, and the music is great.
It also helps that, I played this game a lot as a kid. This was one of my go-to games for, this was probably my most played road trip game as a kid, while just sitting in the car playing Final Fantasy Legend 2. The first game of the series I played a lot too, but this one I ended up loving even more.
So that was the first... Oh, go ahead, Gambit.
The last matchup we picked up there from that first section was called True Eye. And what that does is that's actually going to help us, quote-unquote, be able to see in the next dungeon that we're coming up to.
But before I go in, I'm going to warn anybody, if you're watching, if you've got any sort of motion sickness or sometimes light sensitivity, this dungeon can be problematic, so you might want to turn away. We will let you know when it's okay to look, but I'm entering now. You can also go by the music. Once this music is done, then you're okay to go too, but luckily I'm cool with this, but this could be could affect some people from being able to do the speedrun as well.
Yeah, we talked briefly when you were away about the disco dungeon here being one of the other very memorable dungeons besides Key's Body in this game.
Yeah, I can definitely see that for sure. Another thing that's really memorable, those bosses like Ashura, and the other bosses that we'll end up fighting with that sweet boss music are really cool designs too. Yeah, this game just has a lot going for it, especially for its time. It's just a really cool game. That's about all I can say. Okay, now we pick up the Almighty Laser Sword. Another agility-based weapon. It's going to increase the robot's agility, Maggie's agility, by quite a bit, and is also going to be a very strong weapon for the middle part of this game.
Yeah, that laser sword carries us for the next several boss fights and dungeons here.
And I think there's just one more room in this dungeon. Yeah, this is the last room.
Yeah, fortunately, these first two dungeons, we had the underwater volcano that we went through, and now this Cave of Light, I think is the actual name of this dungeon.
Yes.
Don't actually have bosses, so as long as you get all the items that you want, and then all the magi out of here, then you can leave when you're done. But then we have one more dungeon left, according to Apollo's riddle.
We are now out of the disco dungeon. And off to the mountain cave. There's two entrances to this cave. This one from the behind is the one that you have to go in order to progress. But there's a front entrance too, which leads to a chest, and you'll see that underneath this gap. I believe there's an elixir in there. It's a pretty good treasure, but not something that we need for the run, so not worth the time.
We actually end up buying a bunch of elixirs much later on.
Much later on, yeah. Now, this is a dungeon that I tend to make wrong turns in. As you see there, I don't know what it is about the design of this cave, but I could never get my hands on which way to go in this one.
Well, fortunately, we don't have a fifth character, and also I think our robot's agility is pretty pumped at this point, so running is not a problem.
Like, all the weirdness in the disco dungeon, and I don't make one wrong turn, but in this one I've already made two. Like I said, I don't know what it is. There's a couple dungeons that do this to me, and this is one of them. Gotta pick up a rocket. As you find in most mountain caves.
Apollo just left that there for us, right? Like he sent us here to get all this magi, and he just left us a rocket too, for good measure.
Yeah, well, I assume so. I mean, he's just a bro, right?
He's a stand-up kind of guy. He really is.
Whee! This is a slide.
Can you not go back up that now?
That is correct.
Okay.
And here's Lynn, maybe the most useless of all the guest party members. I mean, and I'm saying,
for...
even speaking casually, she's just not useful.
Joining us for this one boss fight here.
Hey,
fortunately, that laser sword just, like, rips through everything at this point.
And so we take Lynn home, and what? Dad is here.
So apparently Dad has been living with another family?
That's what it looks like.
Man, what a jerk! He, like, walked out on us and went and had another secret family.
We're actually going to keep that list, but Just by one headbutt and one laser sword. We're gonna equip all of this stuff.
And all these extra weapons, now we have 2 laser swords and the headbutt and that blitz whip on the robot, is just to beef up the robot's agility even more than it was.
Now, one thing in the game you have to be careful with is when equipping items to the robot, because of the way the robot stats are built, you only actually get half the uses of the item than what any other character would get. Thankfully, that doesn't really matter much because we have it routed out where we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and when playing casually, you could go to an inn to restore those charges for the robot. It doesn't restore them for the other characters, though, so it's kind of that interesting balance as far as that goes. So next up is going to be Guardian Space. And so unlike the other worlds, this one's going to drop us off directly into a town. So that's kind of nice. So I figure we'll go here. Let's head on over to the cafe and play my favorite song, the Heroic Tune.
I like
Because we're definitely heroes.
We are heroes. Oh, wait. If you played that song, you must be a spy.
We're definitely spies, yeah.
But what Dad is here?
The dude with the hat is back. Apparently he's got the credentials to get us out of here, though.
Yeah, someone else called a captain. Now, if you talk to the NPCs, you get some background lore as to what the Guardians are. Basically, they're the ones who are kind of tasked themselves with making sure that the people like Ashura don't get too much power by protecting the Magi. That's kind of their duty. And Dad is the captain of the Guardians.
Man, he's got all sorts of secret double lives that we knew nothing about this whole time.
Absolutely. There's Elemental Hero Clayman for the Yu-Gi-Oh fans.
Yeah, so now unfortunately, the Guardian base is under attack.
And so Dad's going to join us now. Now, there's a few monster sprites that appear on the screen. Oh, Dad's making it so we can't run here. That's great.
That's also kind of unusual at this point because our robot's agility is pretty high at this point.
Yeah, it's more unusual now than it was like when he was in our party, for sure.
Yeah.
But these monster sprites that are on the field, you can't run for these fights, and plus they drop a Magi when they die, so you really need to fight these ones.
I think they're all just single encounters, like single monster encounters, right?
And you can see with all the stuff that we've equipped, doing like 900 damage with the laser sword is just shows the raw power of the robot at this point in time. And
man, this Guardian. I was gonna say the Guardian base looks like it's pretty beat up here.
Yeah, these monsters did a number. The reason that we don't have more than one robot, like we've been talking about the power of the robot all this time, but we only have one because it would just be too expensive to try to outfit more than one of them. Plus, one of them is enough to basically run roughshod through the game. So, that's why we only have one robot.
Now, that NPC who we just talked to said something about Lynn? Is something going on with Lynn here?
Yeah, we're following into the next world, which is called Ninja Ambush World. I wonder what could happen here.
I can't imagine with a world name like that. It's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, so this monster has Lynn, but we find out that Dad doesn't have a secret second family. Just taking care of Lynn, a guardian that was under Dad's command, fell, and so he's just trying to make it up to the family.
So Dad very heroically here saves Lynn by blowing himself up.
And then we get ambushed by
unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately didn't actually kill the monster here, so we still have to defeat the ninja. But now it's very, very sad because now Dad's gone.
And so we'll get the full story from Lynn's mom, get one more Magi. And now we can proceed. As we hear this sad, dead dad music.
Yeah, it even persists after battles. This
Absolutely.
is a very sad and yeah.
Okay, so that was Apollo's World. This time I'm not going to miss it. This is Guardian's Base. This is Ninja Ambush World.
We are actually headed to Venus's world next.
Yeah. And this should be Venus's world. Yep, we're here. So let's go and pay respects to the goddess Venus.
I hope she's as cool as Apollo.
I will say, when playing casually, Venus's world is where I consider the big difficulty spike. This world's a lot more difficult than the worlds that came before it, from a casual point of view. So, Venus likes things that are not ugly. Not a big fan of the ugly is Venus.
Yeah, she wasn't quite as hospitable as Apollo either. Like, Apollo gave us a Magi, and he also gave us some hints about where to find more Magi, and Venus is just like, there's no Magi here.
So we'll immediately leave her metropolis. And go to this podunk town out here. Meet up with Leon. Basically, he's got a messed up leg, so Venus doesn't consider him, or considers him ugly now, and exiled him outside of the metropolis. So, already not liking Venus too much.
Yeah, definitely not as cool as our buddy Apollo.
Now that or this formation here has werewolves, and I believe they are one of the enemies that I mentioned before that can surprise attack you. So this is where having that chameleon is going to help.
Yeah, what happens if we didn't have the chameleon and we got surprise attacked and we got a TPK here at this point in the game?
Well, then you'd get it. It doesn't actually give you a game over in this game. It gives you a cutscene where you end up in Valhalla, and Odin talks to you and says, "I can revive you as long as you promise to fight me one day." And then lets you go right back to the exact same fight and give it another shot.
That's not foreshadowing at all.
This hermit is being a butt by keep using the shell. There we go. We need to defeat that crab to get a key to open some more doors later in this dungeon. Now, with what we were just talking about with TPKs, the rule in this for this category is that you can't reset out of fights that are not forced encounters. Like that crab that we just fought, since it was a forced encounter right there on the battlefield or on the map, it is legal to reset out of that and try it again. But like this fight here, if we were to die, we wouldn't be able to reset. We'd have to go through the cutscene.
Yeah, we use that for some of the times we have to grind meat.
Yeah.
In certain encounters, you can reset if, say, there's too many enemies or you don't get the meat drop you need. Resets for those are allowed, but for just regular random encounters, you cannot reset.
Yeah, I broke that rule the first time I tried this run, and I didn't even realize it.
Now, Rex, I noticed in the last couple of rooms you skipped the chests in the lower right-hand corners of the rooms. And, can you tell us why that is?
Yeah, those are some trapped chests. They have monsters inside of them. As the guides say, they are full of monsters and regret. They are monsters. Not only are they monsters, but they're monsters from a couple worlds ahead. Very difficult encounters. I highly recommend skipping them. Yeah.
Yeah, monsters and regret. Yeah, they're and of course because they are the trapped chests, they are not runnable.
Now we're talking to Flora. Flora loves Leon, but Venus says that Flora has to marry Nils. So, and now another volcano appears because, we've gone like 2 or 3 worlds without a volcano level. That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, we've already had 1 volcano. Why not second volcano?
And the instructions for this second volcano in the guide is just walk through like normal. So whatever normal is for walking through a volcano, that's what you do here.
So it's just as one does,
As one does.
I'm gonna remember that the next time I visit a volcano. What was that? Was that Leon creeping on you?
Yeah, well, Leon knows Awesome, so just checking up on Awesome as we're going through here. Now, Venus's world is kind of similar to Apollo's world. There's extra dungeons in here, but these ones are much longer than the short little dungeons that we had in Apollo's world. And so that makes up for the fact that there's only 2 of them in this world compared to the 3 in Apollo's. And there are, of course, piranhas in the volcano.
Leon is still following us, too.
Yeah, just wants to make sure we safely get through the volcano, as one does.
I guess. We have a 5th party member slot. He could actually come join us if he wanted to do that.
I'm cool with him not joining, because that way we can run easier.
Yeah, that's true.
I do love the lizards with the big spiral eyes.
Yeah, the monster designs, like a lot of this game, are very whimsical and unique. I like how there's a chest just right in the middle of the lava there. Like, it's just... Why not?
Just chilling. I will note all of these lava tiles are damage tiles. 1 HP per step, but we don't. Since we're able to run from everything, and they won't actually kill any of the party members. We just don't really worry about it.
Yeah, our robot has quite a few hit points at this point too, so...
Okay, these are 3 Magi chests, and we're going to open them in this order in particular, because Leon's going to steal this Magi of Power from us and push us over 1 step. So it's just a very small optimization there.
Man, Leon, what the heck?
Well, I think the only thing that we can do now is crash a wedding.
I mean, when you lose your Magi of Power, what else are you gonna do, right?
That's, every time I've lost a Magi of Power, I've crashed a wedding. Also going to be the first time we're going to hear the awesome track Burning Blood. So looking forward to that as well. But first we're going to hear the opening track. So no questions or objections allowed. Laura! And here comes Leon. This is Burning Blood. I love this track. So what Flora's going to do is scar her own face so that she's not beautiful anymore to get exiled so that she can be with Leon. But we think Venus has gone too far, so we're going to heal up our robot, we're going to save, and we're going to fight a very tough boss here in Venus. So far, so
Charm
good.
is good.
Charm. We like to see Charm. What we don't want to see is a Blitz Whip on Maggie, and ooh, Flame is not good either. Ooh, 10 HP left. Ooh, just got there. That was close. 10 HP left.
Man, look at all that Magi that she had.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty happy ending for the people in Venus's world here.
Yeah, and like Nils wasn't a bad guy. He was just put in the same tough situation as everybody else is by having to follow Venus's order.
Yeah, and he's pretty well liked by the ladies here, right? So he's not going to have any trouble finding somebody else besides Flora, and now Flora and Leon get to be together, so everybody's happy.
Yep, so our job here is done, and it's on to the next world.
Yep. This next world, it's kind of just kind of a fun world casually. As a racer, this is maybe the most infamous world. Or as a speedrunner. This is the race world.
Race world, yep.
Now, if you go talk to the NPCs and everything in here, you'll find out this race for Magi is actually being run by Apollo, our buddy. Always up to give us more Magi. So. We want to take the 600 GP Dragon here for the race. It's not the fastest one, but it does let us skip an encounter, and that's going to end up saving more time in the end.
And this world is infamous because this is the second of the meat grinds. Our first one that we used to turn our imp into the chameleon went very well. We got the meat on the very first drop. This one, we're gonna see. we'll see how this goes in just a few minutes.
Yeah, a lot of times in marathon situations, people will offer up donations to the number of resets you have to take on this meat drop. I know I personally plan to do $1 per attempt we have to take here.
Oh, well, I mean, I want to go fast, so I hope it does. I hope it's not going to cost you a lot, but always donating for the cause is a good thing too. So I'm kind of torn.
So there's a couple of set encounters here, and all of them are pretty tough. These monsters. Yeah, these monsters are from a couple worlds ahead. So these are pretty tough encounters here.
2 is probably more manageable. 4 Lamias is pretty tough. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 save. See if we can get a save on the 8th as well.
Here we go. So this is the Watcher grind. We're looking for 1 or 2 Watchers. There's 1.
No meat.
But we did not get the meat.
3 resets.
So we'll reset immediately if we get more than 2 Watchers. We got 3 there. There's 4, so it's another reset. Gambit, are you counting? I haven't even been counting.
I am counting. We are on attempt number 5 right now.
Okay.
And this is kind of like the trade-off. Like, we've built our robot to be, like, someone who can slaughter bosses. But these groups of enemies, that's not something that we've got really accommodated for. We bought that submachine gun earlier, but that doesn't do enough damage to deal with these Watchers.
Man. This is why we set the estimate at 2:15 instead of 2 hours, just in case this gets nasty. There's 1 Watcher.
No meat.
No meat.
Yeah,
So we have to...
The world record run is like something along the lines of about 12 or 13 resets at this point. So if you can get like the perfect RNG and get a first try meet along with everything else, there's room on the record board.
We had it when we practiced last weekend. He got it on the very first try.
Hey, there we go. And so our baby D becomes a Watcher.
Yeah, so there's several factors there. Of course, we saw first you want 1 or 2 Watchers. You need the meat to drop. And then the third factor is you need your baby D to survive, because if your monster is not alive at the end of that battle, they can't eat the meat. So there's 3 factors going into that grind.
But overall, that could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
So now we're done with the race world, and we are off to Edo. This is another one of the big worlds with a lot of things going on it. There's 3 dungeons in this one, and one of them is a really long dungeon too, so...
Yeah, the story in this world is pretty fun, too, if you're just playing through casually and playing for the story.
It's also very silly.
Yeah. especially with the US localization, they changed some stuff due to, I guess, just wanting
Probably
to
Nintendo
censor
of
some
America.
things. Yeah.
So now we've got the Watcher in our team, so this beam attack that the Watcher has can deal damage to all members in a party, so now we can hit groups of enemies. Wow, she's cool. Yeah, Hannah's pretty cool. Okay, gotta do some shopping again. Sell everything we've got except our executor. Cat claw.
Well, the laser sword was pretty cool while I was using it, but now I get to switch to a cat claw, which is still pretty cool.
Yeah, consider you're Maggie the cat. That's pretty appropriate.
I mean, yeah, that's very true.
I also go over here to this item shop to buy an eye drop. This is just a safety measure. There is an enemy in an encounter that you can't run from that can blind party members, and trying to go up against the boss with a blinded party member is not something I really like doing, so I buy the eye drop just in case.
Yeah, but real fast, there was 14 resets, so I went ahead and donated $14 for our 14 resets.
Awesome.
Yay, thanks, Gambit.
So now we learn from Hannah here. Hannah the detective, who's trying to avenge her father, who was killed while looking into the smuggling exploits of Echegoya the merchant in this big town. So now we're going to go in and try to help out Hannah because, as we mentioned before, she's cool.
Well, what would we be smuggling in this town?
You know, there's so many things that could be smuggled. I think what would be the most heinous would be if Echegoya would be smuggling something as vile as bananas.
Bananas? No.
I mean, he'd be a pretty awful dude if that's what he's doing, right?
I can't think of anything worse.
We're going to go into here. We're going to say hi to Kami, our turtle friend. He's just chilling. It's actually Hannah's turtle friend, but any friend of Hannah's a friend of mine. Because Hannah's cool.
This music sounds really ominous. And there are enemy counters in here.
Well, this is Echegoya's ship, so not looking good for him.
He's clearly a bad guy if he's got ominous music and random encounters, and he's suspected of banana smuggling. Definitely not a good guy. Ooh, a tank.
Yep.
We're just gonna take all of his cool stuff while we're here, too.
I see another friend of Hannah's here, Taro. Well, we found, there's so many bananas on this boat. Hannah's going to join us. We're going to go to the courts, finally put away Echegoya.
Yeah. Awesome. We've seen evidence now of this awful banana smuggling ring that he is operating.
But through some good detective work of Hannah, we've got the evidence we need. Now it's just to report it to the proper authorities. It so happens the courthouse is right over here.
Man, he was operating this banana smuggling ring really close to the authorities here.
And there's our turtle friend Kame again. You better give it up, Echegoya. Nothing like bananas were found on the ship. Hey, lady, I came straight from the store. Echegoya's lines are just the best. Might be my favorite NPC in the whole game. Oh no, they got Tommy. Better hide him. One of the translation sort of quirks in this game is whenever they say you should give up, instead it says you should give it up. It's just really funny, I think. Okay, now let's do some equipping. Our human is finally going to get equipped with something. And then cat claw, the whip for the laser sword, and magi. Going to equip another magi here. I'm going to equip Inven with the Aegis. Aegis is one of just a couple magi that can actually be used in battle. And it's going to, if it's used, it can give a shield and a barrier status to the entire party, which makes them immune to elemental attacks. So it's very useful when it's used.
Yeah, so it kind of, I think at this point, all of our party members have something that they can do in battle now.
Yes. For the first time in the game.
Yeah. Besides, like,
hour 15
taking
minutes.
the floor.
Yeah. An hour and 15 minutes in, everybody could do something now. So now I'm going to voice act the scene because I love it. Shogun! Ha ha ha! Well then, how are the bananas? You have nothing to worry about. Here they all are nice and safe. I am working so hard to keep the police quiet. Oh, yes, I know that. Please do not say any more. I, of course, did bring extra GP just for you. Gathering magi costs a lot of money. Squeeze more money from the townsmen. Oh, sir, you are bad. Ha ha. That is a very nice compliment. I'm not as bad as you, Echegoya. Ha ha ha. What is this music? Hey, you dirty scums! What? Who do you think you're talking to? Come on, fellows!
I love how they recognize that you're coming from the music cage.
Yes.
Hey, the lore, or at least the theory in the group is that all the music in the game is actually coming from the robot, so that's how they know the music changes.
That's amazing. I had not heard that one.
So now I found out that Hannah's friend Taro is a guardian, and now he's going to join us. And of course, we get the heroic theme because we've got a guardian. The heroic tune is the one for the guardians. So now we're going to go to Shogun's Palace, which is a very large dungeon.
So while we're heading to Shogun's Palace, let me just take the time to remind everybody you are watching Supporting Autism Speed Event 2021, raising money for Organization of Autism Research, a charity that strives to fund autism research as well as enhance the quality of life for individuals with autism. You can find more information about OR at researchautism.org.
Thank you, Gambit. And this encounter, of course, is a forced encounter. These are the guards in front of Shogun's Palace. But this particular encounter, like this group of enemies, can also be found as a random encounter inside the palace as well. And because it was set as a forced encounter here at the gate, it is also a forced encounter if it is encountered as a random encounter. So if you encounter this setup, the Stoneman, Knight, and Ninja, inside the palace as a random encounter, you can't run from it.
And we got an unfortunate roll here. A lot of party a lot of enemies in this one, so it took several rounds to get through that fight this time, and that was just unfortunate.
Would it ever be beneficial for you to save beforehand and reset? You could reset out of it because it's a forced encounter, is that correct?
That's correct, but it's also one that, like, it might, even though it, like, I wouldn't know, it might end up being more time to reset and go in again than just take an extra round of combat, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, that particular encounter, it's not one you're going to really lose to, it's just going to take extra time.
Yeah, and menuing to save, of course, takes time too, so.
Now, this portion of Shogun's Palace is the other area where I tend to make some wrong turns, so we'll see if I can avoid some of them this time. Nope. The very first one. Holy mackerel.
So I spoke too soon, I guess, there.
Oh, come on, Rex. I thought we were on a different floor. Good. I just do not want to see those knights and ninjas and everything like that.
Yeah, that random forced encounter.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say forced, but random can't run encounter.
Yeah.
And this is Shogun here. Big Boss, you know, I'm feeling kind of good. I don't think I need to save before this one.
I will remind you to equip the samurai bow, though.
I could do that after Shogun.
I was gonna say, you do that after this fight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, because I did absolutely forget to do that last time.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Here comes Magnet, the actual boss of this world. And this one we do want to save before, because Magnet has Tornado, which is one of the rudest attacks in the game. And this was the fight that those knights in those forced attack... Ooh, I hate that Tornado. The knights in that forced attack were the ones that have the ability to blind people. And so I tried to do this fight with a blind tarot, and it was very tough. Oh, we were so close.
That was very rude.
But that just shows how strong Tornado is. That robot could dodge almost everything because of its high agility, but the that Tornado is just too strong. You can see that the tank that Scala is using also serves as a shield. So when a physical attack like the katana that Magnet uses is often blocked by the shield, so the tank not only does damage but protects Scala as well, so it's pretty nice. There. Much easier when Magnet doesn't use Tornado.
Especially on that first round, and takes out your entire party.
Ten more Magi left to go.
Wow, we've come quite a ways.
We have. The next up is the Nasty Dungeon.
Oh yes, Nasty World. The nastiest world to this game.
Yes. Very, very nasty indeed. Only one Magi in Nasty World, but you've got to get them all, so... Here is the aforementioned Nasty Dungeon. Okay, we've got our Magi listed.
So one of you should probably explain why this is actually called Nasty World and Nasty Dungeon.
Well, we went into that cave, and there's a fairy sitting next to that treasure chest, and the fairy says that the dungeon is full of a lot of nasty enemies. And if you go through there, it's a very long dungeon with a lot of really hard encounters, but has a lot of really nice loot in there. If you go through the whole thing, that same fairy is waiting at the end of it and asks you if you thought it was nasty. And if you say no, she'll take you right back into the very middle of the dungeon.
So that's appropriately nasty if you actually do it.
But yeah,
thankfully...
playing casually, there is a lot of goodies in there. So if you like a challenge and you like to get rewarded, it's a very cool place to go.
Now, the speedrun rise, we just walk in, grab the one Magi, and that's it for that world. We're done.
So now we are in Valhalla, Odin's world. We did mention a little bit before about Odin. So this is what happens if you don't die throughout the game.
Yeah, we haven't actually met Odin yet because we have not. I mean, we've died, but to forced encounters. So we've simply reset instead of taking the cutscene that Odin would give us if we didn't reset.
Yeah, basically the only difference is you get additional dialogue here, and so it's just faster to not deal with that. Here's a Flare spellbook in that treasure chest.
That sounds very powerful. Flare is typically one of, if not the most powerful spells in games like this.
It is indeed powerful. Unfortunately, none of our party members have been building up their magic stat, so none of our 4 party members here are going to be able to take advantage of it.
Well, that's a little unfortunate. Still pretty nice to pick up.
Yep. Oh, I can feel that that energy drink going through me. I'm gonna have to take another bathroom break after this world. Okay, here's Odin.
Hopefully this fight doesn't troll you. This can be a pretty rough fight too.
Yeah, this is not an easy fight. No, I want to use here. Nice. That's unfortunately that killed Leggy, but Leggy. Oh, that's not as bad. Oh, I meant to switch to Cat Claw. Lightning is fine. We've used the Aegis or strong against lightning. What we don't want to see is a Gugner. Oh, you can keep using that. Gugner to Maggie. Keep using lightning all you want.
Lightning is really good as long as our monster with Aegis is alive.
Well, even if that monster dies now, the barrier has already covered the party, so we're good for the rest of the fight.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's. I didn't realize that it was persistent.
Got there.
Nice.
Ooh, but
First try, very good.
We did get the Sleipnir glitch, which is not good. If you get meat from Sleipnir, that means you're getting a lot less gold from this than you normally would. But we can deal with that. So now we're going to use the Pegasus to warp to Valhalla, where we are, but it's going to warp us on the other side. And now I am going to take that second bathroom break. Like I said, I will be right back.
Yeah, Rex goes to do that. I'll explain a little bit more about the Sleipnir glitch. In that particular fight, it's the Sleipnir, Odin, and then the third enemy. So the way the game calculates your gold, it goes each enemy group. Starting with Sleipnir gives you the gold for Sleipnir, then the gold for Odin, then the gold for that third group. Unfortunately, if you get a meat drop, that's where the game just decides, oh, you got a meat drop? Cool. That's the end of all rewards. It's the end of everything. So getting the Sleipnir meat means we never even got to the gold being dropped by Odin or being dropped by that third group, which does bring our gold count very much down. Thankfully, there are safety strats to pick up a couple extra items to get us the gold we need to get the items we need to make it to the end game.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because we don't even need meat at this point. So that Sleipnir meat is pretty. It's actually detrimental. We do not want to see it at this point.
Now, while we have a break in the action, I do want to go ahead and just remind everybody that for every $10 that you donate throughout this entire marathon, you do receive an entry to the raffle for one of 7 copies of Sensory: Life on the Spectrum, a comic anthology about living with autism. It's a 140-page book featuring work by over 30 different autistic creators, telling their stories on how autism affects their lives. For more information about Sensory and its ongoing Kickstarter campaign, you can type !Sensory in chat.
Very cool, thank you.
All right, we back.
Welcome back, Rex.
Now, I believe, if my math is correct, we have gotten all but one Magi. And the next world is Final World.
Now, with a name like Final World, you would think this is the last world of the game.
You would think that.
It kind of implies that, doesn't it? Does it tell us? We're at 76. It says in the bottom right-hand corner of your menu screen how many Magi you have. So yes, we're one away.
And here comes Apollo with the 77th, and he's threatening us. Come, my man!
What the heck? I thought Apollo was our buddy.
Oof. Good, hit the stone gaze.
There we go. Yes.
Minion is susceptible to instant death via stone. So, another nice effect of having the Watcher in our party. But now, Apollo has taken hostages of all the friends that we've made throughout the game. But
wow, that's
It's Dad! He's wearing his hat!
What is happening? So much is happening right now.
Yeah, basically what happened is the Guardians are the ones who told everyone that you need 77 Magi to get them all, but there is in fact a 78th Magi, and it's here in the final dungeon.
Wow, okay, so we just learned a lot. We learned that Apollo's a jerk.
Yes.
we learned that Dad's still alive. We thought that he'd blown himself up to save Lynn a long time ago, but apparently that was a ruse. So Dad's with us now. And we learned that there's a hidden 78th Magi that we are about to go get because Apollo doesn't know about it. He took the rest of our Magi, though, so we lost like Aegis and everything else that we were using.
Right. The mana and speed Magi that we had on our robot and monster, we lost that Aegis one. We lost our Pegasus, so we can't warp anymore. So yeah. Now this is a very, very long dungeon, but this one is pretty easy. I do not make wrong turns in this one.
This is a pretty creepy dungeon, to be honest. The faces in here that are like moving and scowling at you, that's a little creepy.
Now over here, we're going to pick up the Arthur armor. This is our backup because we didn't get the, we got that Sliker glitch, but this Arthur armor is going to sell for a lot of money and make up that money that we missed from the Odin fight.
That's also, it kind of tells you what direction, like at that point, you start going in a different direction in the dungeon, so that's how you don't get lost, right?
Exactly. In this dungeon, basically, whenever there's a fork in the road, you take the right fork until you hit that Arthur armor, and then from that point on, you just take the left fork every time after that.
Nice and easy to remember at this point.
And I'm glad there's something easy because this is a long dungeon, if you can't tell. Especially for this game, this game generally uses the high encounter rate to make the dungeons threatening instead of really long dungeons. Even like the ones in Venus's World, which were pretty long, in the grand scheme of things aren't super long dungeons compared to other RPGs. But this one has both the high encounter rate and the long length. Nasty Dungeon is even longer, though.
We're seeing some of the same monsters here that we saw in Race World that were the forced encounters. Like, I think the Watchers are in here and the Lamias.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those situations where what made appropriate kind of mini-boss monsters earlier are now regular enemies. Okay, gotta do some menuing here. Here.
Oh, there's that flare spell that you picked up.
Yeah. Now, y'all like Final Fantasy 1? There's some War Mech for you.
War Mech, oh. That's a familiar enemy. A scary familiar enemy.
War Mech is also susceptible to stone. Stone Gaze can be turned to stone if it hits. There we go.
Nice.
And here's the Heart Magi. The 78th Magi.
Excellent. So what does the Heart Magi do?
You can equip it to one of your characters, and you can use it in battle, and it'll revive everyone with full HP.
Wow. Sounds pretty good.
Now it's our final shopping run. We're going to sell everything we've got. We're going to buy 4 laser guns. We're going to give Scala one, and we're going to give three to Maggie. Oh,
Man, I am pretty equipped there.
we also want to equip the Heart Magi to Leggy. Okay. Now we're not done with our shopping, we're going to go over to the item shop next. And once again,
yeah, I think we mentioned a long time ago about elixirs, and here's the elixirs.
Well, I'm going to buy 3 tents. And then as many elixirs as I can.
And now we're ready to go challenge Apollo, I guess.
Yep, Apollo's got the 77, we've got the 78th. But Apollo is under the impression that he's got all of them. So he's going to try to use them to try to ascend to godhood. We are going to try to stop him. And we are definitely going to save before we do so. This is another one of those bosses. When I was a kid, getting past this was the hardest thing for me to do. This was the most difficult boss for me. Well, you can't do anything in the end, sorry. So for the first 5 rounds or so, Apollo is going to use this Aegis, which gives him that barrier, and like if we were to try to use like the laser sword or the cat claw against him, he'd probably just block it. Luckily, the laser sword or the laser gun and the flare bypass shields, so we're able to do a decent amount of damage to Apollo without worrying about that. So that's how we start this fight, and that's why we buy all of those laser guns. Also, they're a very good agility boost for Maggie, our robot, as well.
Yeah, we can see that the laser gun doesn't do as much damage as that cat claw, but it at least does damage at this point, whereas a lot of things would get blocked by the Aegis.
Okay, so now the Apollo changes his tactic. Now the music changes, so he's going to attack with the Mazmunes, so that means we can go to the cat claw, because his shields will be down. Ooh, hitting Leggy is not ideal. Well, we will use Heart. I think we're okay, because Maggie survived. So we can run this turn.
Ooh, Apollo's not looking so good here.
Oh. Nope, I was wrong.
Uh-oh.
There's one turn off. I was off on my calculation. If all 4 of the party members are dead, is it a situation like when we fought Ashura and everybody died except Mask, and Mask was able to finish him off? That doesn't work in this fight. So instead, we're going to do it again. But the nasty thing was the first time Apollo attacked, hitting Leggy. That's
yeah.
Any other character is fine, because Leggy's going to be using that part to revive everybody. But if Leggy gets hit by the Mazamune, then she's not going to survive the flare that Apollo does the next turn, and so can't use the heart to revive everybody. So that's basically what happened there.
Yeah, just perfect unlucky RNG roll there.
Switch to Cat Claw.
Okay, hit Dad this time, so that's okay.
Yeah, as long as the heart goes off, I think I'm okay. Yeah, okay. Now Apollo should explode this turn. And so Dad's going to block the explosion. He knows a lot about getting exploded. So he's going to sacrifice himself, get exploded. We got all the Magi back from Apollo. So this is an interesting thing because Dad's convinced that using all the Magi is the worst thing ever. But it's the only thing that we can think of to try to save Dad here. So we're going to go ahead and use it and summon the Goddess of Tech Support.
ISIS!
Yep. And so first thing she does is stabilize Dad. He's going to be okay. So now we need to go in. ISIS is going to join us, and we're going to go in and defeat the security system. We'll take a save here.
Well, she is the Goddess of Tech Support after all, so she knows all about security systems.
So in here, this is what we call the gauntlet. All of the fights in here are you can't run from. Luckily, we have ISIS, who comes equipped with Flare. And I've got to get some info up on my side. I'm going to be looking for some specific meat along the way as well. This is a giant. This is one of the meats. It would be ideal if we get a meat here. Not bad. Okay.
Nice.
So we've got a Bone King, which is one of the best. Now I don't need to worry about meat drops in this. I can just fight everybody.
Yeah, that's very good to get it this early, so we don't have to try to grind it or look for something suitable at the last minute. Are the two that you get from the butterfly and from Fenrir, are those guaranteed?
I believe so. But they're tough fights.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's two, I think they're, well, I guess these are all forced encounters, but there's two, I guess, guaranteed encounters coming up that are going to drop meat that we're going to use to upgrade our two monsters one more time here.
Yep. Now, this is where the elixirs come in. Basically just using them to reset Isis's flare charges. And I'm not talking much because I'm keeping an eye on the flare charges.
Yeah, she has 5. Typically use 1 per battle. Once in a while you have to use 2. But if she runs out, it's not the end of the world. You can still take these fights without Flare, but it does take longer since then you're kind of relying on her single attack abilities instead of the AoEs. The Flare is AoE against everything and just kind of obliterates everything here.
Yeah, there's only a few enemies that won't be one-shot by... And usually it's like they have a chance of not being one-shot by Flare.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why we kind of, spread out the rest of your attacks against everything else, so just in case something's got a little bit of hit points left over, usually the rest of the party can take it down.
Well, as we're in the gauntlet and approaching the game, I do want to remind everybody, we do still have the open bid war for the next game, Octopath Traveler, to choose which single story character we use. Ophelia is currently in the lead with $25, Cyrus at $10, and Hanat at $1.08. Still time to get donations in if you want to see a certain character as our single story choice. So get those in, because that will close at the end of this run.
I was tempted to bid toward that, but I don't know that I'm going to be awake anymore after this. It's pretty early where I am, so I might take a nap after this. Okay, so here is one of the set forced encounters, and I think Rex reset here just because there were too many of them in the group.
That is correct.
Yeah, that first.
How many are you looking for?
4.
I like 1 or 2.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And we've got our butterfly.
Excellent. Pretty butterfly.
So that was the first of 2 forced encounters on this gauntlet. The rest of the way, we just keep on going, keep on doing the same strategy, flare everything, heal Isis with a elixir every time, shoot out the flare charges, and just keep on going.
The butterfly, or the technical name for it here is the Madame, is particularly important because it has an ability, I think it's called Absorb, which deals damage to the enemy and heals the Madame, I think for an equal amount. And so it's especially nice against the final boss. Just uh-oh.
Actually,
Did that actually do anything?
No, it's just
okay.
You can talk to your fifth party member. I just usually don't because...
Oh, yeah. But anyway, there's that absorb in use here in this fight. And definitely useful against the final boss to keep that Madame alive. I think we're getting fairly close to the end. I think the gauntlet is 10 floors.
Yeah,
and I actually haven't...
And then the final floor after that.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, the next force encounter is going to be Fenrir here. Another one that has the nasty tornado attack, and we only want one or two. And Inven needs to survive this one. Excellent.
Nice.
And we've got our slime god. Okay, so 2 best monsters for the end. And here we are on the final floor. Now, I did mention at the end there's... you can't run from any of these fights. That's not entirely true. There is one encounter on this floor that you can run from. I'd actually rather not see it.
Yeah, you have mentioned it. I have not actually ever seen it in any of the runs that I've done with you, but you've said that it's, what is it, like the worst encounter in the game, or random encounter in the game?
Yeah, it's basically the hidden super boss, or whatever you want to call it. It's like the actual war mech of this game.
Yeah, so at least they make it runnable. I guess that's nice.
But it is quite rare.
This is the last room. We are approaching the final boss in just a moment here.
Absolutely. And we're there. So we're going to use our final tent. Going to save, because we don't get ISIS for this fight. The security system has two arsenals. ISIS is going to take one by herself, and we've got the other one. And we got to strike first. That's awesome.
If I remember correctly, time is the moment that Arsenal starts shaking at the feet, correct?
Yep.
So the gimmick of this attack is Arsenal has 4 cannons that it uses in its first phase. It's going to attack you with those. Each attack you do attacks and can destroy one of the cannons. It will continue trying to heal the cannons unless all 4 cannons have been destroyed. Then it begins doing its secondary attack. Does that for a couple turns, and then it starts activating its Mega Smasher. And that's when you're in the final section and it's just a damage race.
Okay, yep, we are officially in small smasher phase now. And this one can actually be blocked by shields. And that's why I used the tank there, so Scala stayed alive. That was awesome.
Nice. Is the Slime's ability actually absorbing damage as well?
Yes, both the slime and the butterfly can absorb HP.
Oh, that's nice.
However, they also can miss. Okay, launching the smasher. So now it's all down to our monsters. Our slime and not even our butterfly. Oh no, our butterfly survived. Okay. But Inven missed. I don't like that. No, this is probably it for Inven here. No, that was a very low roll. Nice. Oh, but a miss.
Oh.
And another miss.
Oh, I
Inven.
missed again. Oh. This is where the butterfly really shines and saves the party.
Ooh, 2 smashes in a row might be it. We might have a reset here. No, that was a low roll.
Nice. Ooh. Okay, got the heal off.
Time.
Nice.
GG's Rex. I'm showing that as a time on our side of 2 hours and 3 seconds.
Nice.
So just over that 2-hour mark.
Considering I took 2 bathroom breaks, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's a really great time. I mean, not world record or anything, but for a marathon, this is a very good run.
So I'll just go finish it up. Our time is there, but the game ends when we talk to Dad. So we're going to go back, talk to Dad.
Yeah, with us being a security system, all the monsters have been taken care of. We can go back home and find Dad.
Yep, and that's Final Fantasy Legend 2. I love this game. I've been, like I said earlier in the run, I've been playing it since I was a kid. I loved it then. I still love it now. There's a lot to like, both casually and as a speedrun. Highly recommend checking this game out if you're interested at all. And then I also want to thank Maggie and Gambit for being here with me on it. It's fun to speedrun a game that you love. It's even more fun to do it when you're doing it with friends.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Rex, and everybody at SASE. This has been a lot of fun, and GG on your run, Rex.
Thank you.